Okay, folks, look, we've done a couple of pieces in the last 3 or 4 days. One on Sharon Osbourne and one indirectly about Sharon Osbourne. And it's the indirectly one I want to focus on. That said, I also want to mention the former one, because it's the former one that stirred up more traffic, but also stirred up more disagreement. Many have disagreed with me. More haven't, but many have. I said in the first piece earlier on this week, I think she was on the TV, and I was talking about her appearance and how much weight she's lost. She's on this new slimming jab, and she's regretting going on it. She's down to, I think, 6.5 stone. She looks pretty much skeletal. All the facelifts that she's had are showing on the back of this. She's looking pretty awful. But I did say, in her defence, she came across as pretty motherly and pretty nice on the TV the other day, which really isn't the norm for Sharon, because I don't believe for 1 minute that is the real her. She's probably got that side to her, but she's one of those people that you just don't fall out with. I don't really think you even disagree with. It's her way or the highway with Sharon, and I don't think she's the world's nicest person. I think I've read many pieces that many well-known people in the media would agree with me on. Anyway, for that, there's still many people that like her. And I wrote that piece and I spoke that piece and many defended her. Anyway, did a further piece the following day on Ozzy Osbourne and Geezer Butler. For those that don't know it, Ozzy was the singer in Black Sabbath until he branched out on his own. Geezer Butler was the bass player, but Geezer wrote most of the lyrics. Tony Iommi did the music, Geezer did the lyrics in the main, and Ozzy just sung them. Not that I'm saying he didn't sing them well, but Ozzy just sung them. Geezer was very close to him. They've been friends for 40 odd years. Recently, Geezer and Ozzy have fallen out, say recently, 3 or 4 years ago now, and it turns out the root of this problem is Geezer's wife. I've forgotten her name. It might be Gloria, it might not, so pretend I said nothing, because I could be wrong. And Sharon, that's the name I'll never forget, old Sharon Osbourne. So the wives have fallen out. Anyway, Ozzy did a piece when interviewed a couple of days ago about things in general, and he just waded into Geezer Butler for no real reason, saying Geezer's never contacted him, Geezer's never shown any kind of feelings towards him since he's been ill. Nothing at all. And it's a real tirade, and it's effing this, effing that, effing the other, all the way through it, as Ozzy does. Anyway, Geezer's not been there to defend himself, and it's gone down in print, and there's a lot of it. And he's saying, yes, the wives have had a falling out, Sharon and his wife, but he shouldn't be behind his wife's skirt, and he should have gotten in touch with me. He says Tony Iommi's been something of a rock, been in touch regularly, and Bill Ward, the drummer, who they got rid of 3 or 4 years ago, had a big falling out with, even Bill's been in touch, but Geezer, nothing. He said it really shows who your true friends are. And I said at the time, I said, look, this is over the weekend, I'm not so sure I agree with all of that, Ozzy. I think the problem is, you say it's the women, and you say Geezer's hanging behind his wife's skirt. I would suggest the root of this problem will be Sharon herself. There might have been a falling out between the two women. What probably happened is, Sharon probably started it all. Geezer's wife's probably got something about her and stood up for herself, or maybe hasn't got a lot about her, and maybe has been pushed around in the past by Sharon, and thought, no, I've had enough of it, I'm going to say my piece. Sharon won't have like that, all hell will have broke loose, and according to Sharon, it'll all be down to Geezer's wife. It always is, it's never Sharon, always somebody else. And I said in response to the piece that Ozzy did, Ozzy, if I were you, I'd be saying to Sharon, stop falling out with all these people in music, all these people that I've been friendly with, all these people that have been in my band that I no longer talk to because you've fallen out with them. There's loads of them, folks, absolutely loads of them. Outside the band, you've got people like Bruce Dickinson, the Iron Maiden singer, saying she's vile, she's awful, she did a hell of a lot of things against us when we appeared with Ozzy. We don't want anything to do with her ever again, and because of all the problems we've had with her, we're obviously going to have nothing to do with Ozzy, and it's a shame because we like the fella. You've got old Danny Minogue there, fellow X Factor panellist, threw the water in her face and all that for no reason other than to garner a bit of publicity, and just because Danny's a lot younger than her and much better looking, and she didn't like that. And obviously we heard later she was cozying up to Simon. Well, Sharon wouldn't have liked that at all. She'll have known what was going on behind the scenes. We didn't at the time. but I wouldn't say that's Danny's fault. That's probably down to Simon. He was the boss of the show. He should have known better. He shouldn't have been fraternising with the staff he was paying. The same way he shouldn't have talked about him in print a year or two down the line, but that is another story. Anyway, Sharon will have felt her nose was put out of joint, so she thought, glass of water in Danny's face on live TV will do no harm at all, and she went ahead with it. Anyway, back to Geezer now. Geezer's reported he's had comments back towards Ozzy today. He's ready to tell and he's been upset, and I think he's come forward with comments, and he said, thus, I want to get the bins on, I want to get it right. He said, I've made 2 attempts to speak to Ozzy. I emailed him in February 2019. I didn't have his new number, he said, and I didn't have an email address in him, so I had to go through his management. He said, February 2019, I got a reply, but it was off Sharon when I was emailing Ozzy. I don't know what the reply was, he didn't say. He said, anyway, after hearing nothing from Ozzy, I emailed again in January 2020, this time to Sharon's private email address. I heard nothing. She didn't even have the decency to reply. He said, so was he saying all this about me? He said, I've tried on 2 occasions, both times gone through Sharon, the second time no reply at all. You tend to think the guy doesn't want to speak to you. Although I think, reading between the lines, I would say Sharon doesn't want Ozzy to speak to him. Sharon likes them falling out. She's got Ozzy all to herself, and she can sort of put her arms around him. He's there all the time. He's not getting out of the house much anymore. He's not doing his no more dalliances with cleaners and maids and whatever else. She's got him all to herself. Anyway, that's how it went with Geezer, and Geezer said, he said, so after 2 attempts to wish Ozzy well, without any reply, he means any from Ozzy, which is where the attempts were made to, I figured it was best to privately keep him in my thoughts, and that's what I've done thus far. And there for me it ends, he says. And I would say that's about right. You know, Ozzy's gone to press and called him fit to burn. I think wrongly. I think, as I say, 2 wives have fallen out. Ozzy's accusing Geezer of hiding behind his wife. I think it's the other way about. I think Ozzy reading Geezer's reply today should think, wait a minute, I'm not bothered what our Sharon says. I'm going to pick up a phone and I'm going to speak to Geezer. And I can tell him how I am. And I can say, look, Geezer, as I said in the press, the wives have fallen out, but we shouldn't. We've known each other for 40 years. We've been friends for 40 years. And who knows how long either of us have got to go, how long left on this planet. Because you don't know, folks, do you? You don't know. And as I say, I think the root of all this has been Sharon. She's at the root of many things, most of them not good. So, for all of those people that just blindly back her, and many do, have a look at what has been written today by Geezer Butler, the guy that's been maligned by Sharon's husband. Have a look at what's been said by Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden about Sharon. Have a look at what's been said by many, and I mean many, ex-band members of Ozzy's, who at the end were treated really, really abysmally by Ozzy and his management, i.e. Sharon. She's behind everything, and virtually nobody in music's got anything good to say about her. They haven't. They can't all be wrong, folks. They really, really can't be. Have a read into things before you comment, honestly. It's worth doing, it really is.